All right, first tip of the month, and this is a huge one. I'm going to talk about both dry and oily skin, okay? So many women either suffer from super dry skin or very oily. Maybe you have a combination of the both depending on the time of month. So I'm going to break down both of them, and I have so much information that I learned from conference. So hopefully I will get through this all within a shorter amount of time, which is why I have my makeup done. I just didn't add any lip and cheek, and I didn't finish anything, okay? So I want to be able to show you on two sides of my face if you were dry or oily skin and some of the techniques that you can use to really help your makeup last even longer, hide texture, hide some of the oily features or just points within your skin that may be a distraction for you, okay? So either way, whether you are dry or oily or a combination of both, okay, color match is key, okay? This is one of the things that I learned about through so many of these different makeup classes that I was able to attend in Texas. Color match is always key. If something is wrong with your color, it is going to show, okay? And especially as we start to play with either dry or oily skin, we always want to err on the side of a little darker, okay? We don't want to go lighter. That's a lot of times going to show some of the texture, some showing more oily. So we always want to make sure color match is key, or we are even shading up just a little bit, okay? So we are gonna start, let's do this side of my face first, okay? And talk about dry skin, okay? So if this isn't you, you can kind of fast forward ahead to the oily part, or maybe watch them both, because there's a lot of times where certain times of the month I am dry, or maybe in the summertime when I'm outside a little bit more, versus other times of the month I'm just a little bit more oily. And I think that has to do with hormones, okay? So I'm gonna talk about both. You can always skip ahead if you want. Otherwise, it's great information to know. Make sure that you also save this because it might be something you want to come back to again and again, okay? I will also recap everything in the notes, but here we go. Let's talk about dry skin. Skin prep is going to be huge. One of the things that I learned quite a bit about when it comes to priming your skin, if you have dry skin, you want to make sure you have an oil-based skincare routine, okay? Oil-based is just going to help hydrate your skin. So it's lacking that hydration, so you really want to give it something that is more of an oil-based. Okay, the other things that you can do is a facial oil, okay? So whenever you get your skincare done in the morning, coming in with some sort of facial oil. The lady teaching the class did give me one. I will make sure I drop it below. I don't personally use it. I have a different oil and serum that I use from an esthetician who helped me with my skin, okay? But this is a great one that is really good universally. When you put on a facial oil, warm it up in between your hands, press it onto your skin, okay? So that oil, again, is going to help if you have dry skin and starting to replenish and hydrate that for you, okay? Then you're gonna come in with your primer, and I talk about primers all the time. Primer, I have 3 different examples, okay? One, you can use our SEINT setting spray. It is super hydrating, and that's the reason why you want to put on a primer as well. So this is going to be a super hydrating option for you. If you are more of one that likes to press on a primer ahead of time, either one of these work, okay? The Milk Hydro Grip, this one you can purchase from Sephora. This is the mini size. So again, I can drop all these links below. So if you want to try some of these smaller ones, you can definitely do that. The Milk Hydro, or the other one that is at Target is the e.l.f. Okay, this is, e.l.f. Power Grip Primer. So it's gonna be super sticky and tacky, but really what that's gonna do is it's going to lock in some of those oils and the hydration into your skin, allowing your makeup to go on top, okay? As I always mention, when it comes to putting on your skincare, your primers, things like that, try to allow your skin at least 10 to 15 minutes to really absorb the oils, the nutrients, whatever is coming in from these skin prep items, okay? All right, then we are going to go into the whole process of putting on your makeup. There's a couple of brushes that are it's gonna be super great for you, okay? So if you have, again, the dry skin, one of the brushes that you're probably gonna wanna add, if you don't have it already, is going to be the buff brush. So because textured skin or dry skin shows textured, let me rephrase that, dry skin is gonna show more texture. What you're gonna wanna do is put your makeup on much like a cheetah hack. What's the other one? Where you put the lines on your face. You're gonna want to do something where you're applying your makeup first, so that way it gives it time to acclimate and warm up, and then you are going to blend it, okay? By doing so, by letting it warm up, it's gonna hide some of the dry textured areas that you may run into. You might be thinking, well, what if I just have patches, okay? Then again, make sure when you're applying your makeup, you give it time to acclimate and warm up. So one of the best things that she had mentioned was coming in with the buff brush, because it's gonna give a little bit fuller coverage and it's going to help hydrate. So when you come in, you're going to place your brightening color. You are going to come in and you are going to place your contour in those areas. So it's just like the cheetah hack, but you're using your brush. You're gonna come in with your mane, do all your dots, give it 30 seconds, okay? Let it warm up. Then you're gonna come in with any brush that you want, okay? Some of the ones that I really prefer is the blush and bronzer, because it's kind of that light to medium coverage. You could even come in with something like the blend brush as well. But when you come to apply, if you have that dry skin, you're going to be tapping and stippling that color on, okay? Because when we have dry skin, it looks textured. Number one, we let our makeup warm up. And number two, we wanna be pressing that makeup into our skin, okay? The more that you move that brush around like that, the more that it could create more texture, or it could pull some of the dry skin. So you really want to press or tap. If you're using the blend brush, think about just tapping that color right on through, okay? So those are the great ones. Again, your buff brush to apply it, allow it to acclimate to your skin, and then come in with something like the blush and bronzer. You could even come in with your blend brush. If you want to come in with a 3D brush, that's fine. But again, make sure that you are just tapping and stippling that product onto your face, okay? That's going to help hide that texture. If you have fine lines, maybe you have more textured spots, what you're going to want to do is, let's say I have my blend brush here. You're going to want to tug ever so gently and just kind of open up. So you can see, like, I'm not hiding anything. We have fine lines, right? We have laugh lines, whatever you want to call them. So what I would do is I would kind of tug at it and lightly press in, okay? So if you have fine lines, wrinkles, or if you have some more dry patches, really just pull that skin ever so gently and come in and press that makeup in, okay? Otherwise it might be setting in those areas and it's gonna make it look more textured. So that way you can just come in and just kind of press and making sure you're getting in any of those crevices, okay? Last thing, limit under eye makeup, okay? Whether it's fine lines, wrinkles, or you have dryness around your eyes, limit the amount of makeup, okay? That's why the blend brush is a really fantastic one to use, because you can really get in here, pinpoint that area, and then you're done. All right, a couple other things when it comes to dry skin. As far as a blush goes, or a lip and cheek color, when you apply a lip and cheek color, you're going to want a gloss, okay? The reason being, it has a more hydrating finish, okay? So by picking a gloss, you're just going to help hydrate and give that beautiful, like glossy, hydrated finish, okay? So especially if you are dry. Come in with some of your glosses, okay? Again, you can use whatever you want on your lips if you have a color that you prefer, but if you are dry skin, try to come in with something that is a gloss. It's gonna be more hydrating for your skin. Last but not least, perfector sponge. This is gonna be your best friend. So if you don't have one of these already, make sure you grab one. This one is already damp, so you run it under water, squeeze the crap out of it, even put it through a towel, get it super dry, okay? But now we're nice and soft. I do highly suggest our perfector versus like something from Walmart or the blender, beauty blender, something like that. Reason being, ours are made specifically for cream, just like our brushes. So the pores are super small. So when you come in after you're finished with your makeup using the perfector sponge, because the pores are super small, it's not gonna pick up or take off makeup. It's only gonna grab any excess, okay? So when you have your perfector sponge nice and plump, okay, it's damp, you are going to lightly bounce your perfector all across your skin. What that's going to do, especially for dry skin, is it's going to give that airbrushed finish. So if you are starting to show any texture, it is going to help give that airbrush finish, kind of press down any of that makeup, help it stay, okay? And you're going to get that beautiful glow. Now, at the end, so after you are done with your perfector sponge, then you can come in with a setting spray. The good thing about coming in with a setting spray, if you have dry skin, it's another layer of hydration. So if you haven't caught on dry skin, we need to consistently hydrate until we can balance out that pH, okay? So some great ones. Of course, the SEINT setting spray. What I would do is after you are done bouncing that perfector off, I don't want you doing it at the same time. I've learned that in Texas. You're gonna take your setting spray, spray it on your perfector, and again, you're gonna come in and you're gonna bounce it off. A couple other ones would be the Milk Hydro Setting Spray. I don't have that one personally. Or the Charlotte Tilbury. This one is the Airbrush Flawless Setting Spray. This one is a beautiful mist. So you can always just come through, mist your face after, okay? But again, this is going to lock in and just provide a little extra hydration for you, okay? All right, so that is dry skin. Now we are going to, let's just play on the side of the face a little bit. We are gonna talk oily skin. Going back all the way to the beginning, when we talk about prepping the skin, a facial oil or a facial serum is really good for you. And I know you're probably thinking, well, if I have oily skin, why am I going to apply more oils and serums? It's actually good because it's hydrating your skin. A lot of times when we have oil production or over oil production, is because inside we are dehydrated, okay? So we're actually helping kind of balance that pH in our skin. So you're gonna come in with some kind of facial oil or a serum. Remember, rub it in between your hands first, get it nice and warm, and then you're going to press it on your face, okay? Then you're gonna come in with a primer. So just like I said before, the one that I really, really recommend for oily skin is going to be your Milk Hydro Grip Primer, okay? So again, this one is Sephora. The reason why I just like the ingredients, it's not as tacky as something like this, and it just works really well with oily skin, okay? So this would be the one that I recommend for oily. Coming in with that primer, again, pressing it on your face. And now if you have oily skin, you might have to just kind of play up with your morning routine. You wanna give it 15 to 30 minutes to be on your skin, okay? So what's happening a lot of times is when you're doing your skincare in the morning, or your oils, your serums, your primers, whatever, and you already have oily skin, it just takes a while for your skin to absorb it in and get the nutrients that it needs. So if you have oily skin, try to give yourself 15 to 30 minutes for those products to do its job before you come in with your makeup, okay? So again, get out of the shower, do all your face stuff right away, then go get dressed, go get the kids ready, go have a cup of coffee, do your hair. Try to put things in between. Allow your skin to absorb some of these products, okay? Now, big thing here. If you are not going to use something like the Milk Hydro Grip and you are going to use your own primer, no silicone, especially if you have oily skin, okay? It is gonna work against you. It is gonna feel like your makeup is melting off your face. You don't want that, okay? You don't want anything. I always say this anyways, but especially if you have oily skin, stay away from silicone products, okay? All right, now let's talk about how to apply your makeup. One of the things that I've always loved doing, and maybe because I run a little bit more on the oily side versus dry, I'm kind of that between combination and oily is where I fluctuate most of the time, is taking your Bella bronzer, or if you are more fair skin tone, coming in with your Tan Lines bronzer and applying that first before you come in with your 3-day makeup, okay? What that's going to do, it's going to help even out the appearance or the size of your pores, because a lot of times if you have oily skin, it's the appearance of the pores that you're going to start to notice. Whereas if you are dry skin, it could be some of the dry skin or texture that you're seeing, okay? So coming in with something like Bella bronzer, the blush and bronzer brush first, just dipping in and lightly fluffing it all over your face is going to help with the appearance and the size of your pores. It's going to help just kind of calm down any, not texture, but just more that appearance, okay? So that's something that I've always done. I like doing because it's just that beautiful veil on our skin. We're not putting a whole layer on. Again, use that light and fluffy side of the blush and bronzer, or even come in with a blend brush, okay? It's that airbrush, and just lightly come on with your Bella bronzer first. And that is going to decrease the appearance of pores, okay? Then the best brush to use if you have oily skin is probably going to be your blush and bronzer. If you want to pair it with something like the detail brush or even the buff brush, blend brush, you can. But as far as like coming in and blending it out, your best bet is going to be the blush and bronzer. Again, we're going to be pressing it in, stippling it on, just like we did with oily skin, because we might have larger pores, so we're really still trying to minimize the appearance. So by stippling it in, it's gonna help, okay? The blend brush too, I think this one gets highly underused, me included. But she said one way to think of the blend brush is not for light coverage, but more for an airbrushed finish. So when you're coming in, you can press your contour to blend, okay? You could come in and lightly just stipple that color in. Same with around our eyes, okay? Least amount of product is possible. I think that's anytime that we talk about cream makeup, it's the biggest thing that we emphasize. But even if you have oily skin, least amount of product possible when we are coming in. And that's why using something like the blush and bronzer, where it's that light to medium coverage, it's not gonna pull too much makeup, okay? And you're gonna be able to strategically place it on. Now, when it comes to your lip and cheek color, again, you can put whatever color you want on your lips, whether it's gloss or matte. The recommendation for your cheeks, if you have oily skin, is to actually use a matte, okay? Remember, with glosses, they are going to give the appearance of more hydration because it's a gloss. So if we're combating oily skin, it's recommended for your cheeks that you come in with a matte or satin, okay? A matte color. Something like Renaissance is something I use all the time. So many different ones, right? Sandstone. Madrid, different colors like that. There's still an array of colors, but for your cheeks, try to stick with a matte color, okay? So that way you're not coming in with a gloss and it's not going to accentuate any of the oils on your skin, okay? All right. Again, something we are not going to skip is coming in with our perfector sponge, okay? Now, again, just like before, you are going to have it nice and damp. You are going to come and bounce it off your skin ever so lightly. But what this is going to do, besides picking up any excess makeup and fine lines, wrinkles, and helping press that makeup into your skin, it's also going to pick up oil, okay? And if that's something that you suffer with, it is going to do a fantastic job because of the size of the pores on our perfector sponge. It will pick up the oils for you. So you start to get that beautiful finish of your makeup, okay? So you're gonna do that first. Then you're gonna come in with something such as this setting spray. So again, I had mentioned this one for dry skin. It is also good for oily skin because it has a beautiful mist to it, okay? Typically, if you're oily, I'm gonna say don't come in with this at the end, but come in with something like the Charlotte Tilbury. Then you can come in, mist it on your face, give it a moment. Then if you want to, you can come in with a setting powder, okay? So that's kind of your order to finish off your makeup. If you have oily skin, you're gonna come in with your perfector sponge. You're gonna pick up any of that excess oil that may be on your skin. You are gonna mist yourself with your setting, and then you can come in with a setting powder, okay? I know so many women usually ask, do I do the powder first or the mist first? And it's always do the mist first, and then you're gonna come in. One that is super great for coming in with your Vanilla Dust setting powder is the blend brush, because you can come in using that big fluffy end. You're gonna tap off any excess, okay? And then you're just going to come in and press that setting powder on your skin. So if you are one where you get it more in that T-zone area, you can come in just in that spot. If you are one where you just get it all over, then you feel free to come on in. Notice how lightly I am just coming in and pressing it on, okay? Because let's just talk here. Like if I'm mature skin, which I am, and I have oily skin, do I really want a super thick like powder on top? No, because of my mature skin, I have a lot of fine lines and wrinkles. So by using the blend brush, ever so gently tapping off the excess and then lightly coming in and pressing it, I'm not gonna interrupt or add any cakiness into those fine lines or wrinkles, but yet I can still combat that oiliness if I get oil in certain areas. So if I wanna come in certain areas with a setting powder, okay? The other thing too, and I know a lot of you have asked questions, if you have oily prone eyes, okay? It happens. Where a lot of times the oil production around our eyes, whether it's on your lids or even underneath here, it just happens, right? So if you are one who gets super oily right underneath your eye, that's where you're gonna wanna make sure that you come in with your perfector, press it, press it, press it. Try looking up while you're doing it so you can really get into those crevices. Then if you need to come in with a little bit of powder, you're gonna use that blend brush because it's gonna have the least amount of product on it and it's gonna help set it, okay? Now, if you are doing an eyeshadow look, you're gonna start with your cream as your primer, right? So you can come in with, let's say, your brightening highlight color, put it on, come in with your eyeshadow color, and then at the end, you could either use the blend brush again, or if you have that eyeshadow brush, that big fluffy end, you can come on in doing the same technique. You're just coming in, and then you can also set your eyeshadow with a little bit of that Vanilla Dust setting powder, okay? So many different things that I covered in a small amount of time. So what I will do when I jump off of here, Maybe I'll just copy and paste a lot of these into 2 different comments. One for dry skin, and I'll provide a couple of the links, and then one for oily skin. But just know, like, your skin can change with the seasons. Your skin can change with what you got going on with life. If you are pregnant, if you are post-pregnancy, if you are premenopausal, menopausal, like, as women, our hormones are always changing. So our face does a lot too, okay? So always keep this. It's a great one. Click that little save. Because you might be a combination, or just because you might be dry skin right now doesn't mean that in 6 months all of a sudden your hormones are freaking out because of something, or maybe because of the season that you're in life, or where you live can fluctuate and have your skin change, okay? And if you're a combination, then you're really gonna want both of these, and you're just gonna have to know when you need to tweak it. But I think the biggest thing is prepping your skin, which I've talked about lots, and having this perfector sponge. So if you don't have one of these already, it's great for both dry and oily skin for really finishing off your makeup. The blend brush, the blush and bronzer brush, and the buff brush. So these are all gonna be super important tools that will help you depending on if you're dry or oily. And then again, I will reference a lot of these, whether it's our SEINT setting spray, the Charlotte Tilbury, or the Milk Hydro Grip. And even I can do this one too for dry skin, the e.l.f., okay? I hope that was super helpful. As you watch this, any questions that you have, please drop them. Like I said, I had a lot of notes from the class that I was in, so it's a lot of information that I just spewed out. So if you have questions, reach out to me, drop them in the comments below. But I hope this was super helpful. Any questions, again, reach out. That's what I'm here for. Otherwise, have a fantastic day.